What's up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the White Stick MLB DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I am joined once again by the Triple OG. Not one, not two, but three of the White Stick Nation. Mr. Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. Joey, my man. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Just sitting here. It's Thursday night. I'm watching the third round of the SEC baseball tournament. We got the number 2 team in the nation, Vanderbilt, playing Mississippi State, who's number 5. It's a 1-0 game right now in the top of the 9th inning, I think, or bottom of the 8th. So if you like pitching duels and stuff like that, this is pretty damn good. You have some really, really good future Major League Baseball players in this tournament. So I talked about it the other day. So, but yeah, I'm totally into it.
That's awesome, dude.
What I'm doing.
That's awesome. Especially were there any later games? Because obviously for MLB, a lot of the games were early, so it was like, come 7:00, it was like, okay, now what? Yeah, the playoff basketball game, but
Yeah, there's been 4 games a day now on the SEC network, starting at 7:30 in the morning for the last 3 days.
Wow.
So, and last night's game between Mississippi State and LSU went 17 innings, and it was the longest SEC tournament game, and didn't finish till 3:00 Central Time.
Wow.
So and then LSU had to turn around and play at 1:00 today. So it was quick turnaround, and they won though. So, but yeah. It's crazy that, kids like that, they go and they play and then they turn around and go play again, man. I remember as a kid, when you're in tournament, do you remember it when you're playing in tournaments? Okay, we got to get up early, we play early, we got to win 3 games tomorrow if we're going to win this thing. And you know what I mean? It's and you had to do it, and you're playing at 10 o'clock. You got to win the 10 o'clock game, you got to win the 12 o'clock, it's pretty cool, so.
Yeah. And then over the years, as you progress, either you make it into the major leagues, or you end up betting on those games, right? In some way, right? Fantasy or regular betting. Those are like the 2 paths, right? Very generalized paths. But that's awesome, man. Baseball is baseball, man. Baseball is baseball. We have a massive slate to talk about, Joe. It's big. There's a lot of options, a lot of good pitching, a lot of really good offenses. It is loaded. What are your overall thoughts before we dive in here?
I like it. I think that there's some obvious places I think that we want to attack. There's one really, really good spot, and then there's some good pitchers tomorrow that are not even so much in there's nobody at 12K, and so there's some pitchers up top that you kind of like, and then there's some decent mid-range options too that we'll be getting into, that I'm kind of looking into, some good SP2 options I think also on DK.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, it's loaded. Well, might as well get it started because it ain't gonna break itself down. Pitchers, cash games, SP1s on DraftKings, your main pitcher on FanDuel, Joey.
To me right now, I'm looking at. It's tough. To me, I'm looking at either Syndergaard or Berrios from first look. We got Berrios at home, pitching against the White Sox. He's 9.9. White Sox strike out the second most against righties. We all know Berrios throws better at home. And then Syndergaard against these Tigers at home too. Tigers, we know, strike out a lot. Their lineup ain't very good. He's a little bit more on FanDuel, so I would prefer Berrios at 9.9. The reason why I'm off sale is just because he's going in Houston, and Springer might be back. I would have to see the lineup, but I just don't want to attack Houston in cash games on the road, even if it is Chris Sale. I think he'd be a great GVP option that we'll get into. And then Blake Snell, for me, I don't think that And once again, on the road in Cleveland, I just don't really want to go there. I think there's more safer options in on for cash games in FanDuel and DraftKings. That right now SP1 would be Barrios or Syndergaard for me.
Yeah, I can get on board with either of those guys on cash. I feel a little better about Snell, I think, than you do from a stability standpoint. I know he's on the road. We do prefer him at home, but Cleveland's they've been pretty bad, man. They've just been like, I mean, I know this because I keep trying to catch them before. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna get hot. I keep on like, it's all good. They're gonna get hot, and they just don't. They just don't. The Cleveland Indians projected for 3.5 runs. I mean, Lindor is definitely a threat, and I'm not arguing Syndergaard or Barrios. I think they're both fine options, and you are going to need the bats. And I don't know about FanDuel, but on DraftKings, Snell is significantly more expensive than both of those guys.
Yeah.
But SP2s, what do you think?
See, SP2s for me, I'll go more down to DraftKings. For me, the guy that just that stands out to me that's just like, hey, grab me, and I don't really even like this guy, but we know when he's pitching against bad teams, he usually does good, and that's Trent Thornton. Like, he's not very good. He's not very a good pitcher, but when you look at his game logs, when he's pitching against teams that can't hit very well, he usually does okay. And we got a team. He's 7-6 on DK. To me, he fits in perfectly. He's facing the Padres at home. We all know that the Padres can't hit righties. They strike out the most against righties. To me, it's an easy play for cash games. The other guy that that's more of a GBP play, but to me, it's Thornton. I really don't see anybody else. Maybe Daniel Mangden, just because the Mariners they strike out a lot. I'm not into it. Or no, I'm sorry. I got my guy mixed up. It would be Eichhoff if Yelich is out of the lineup again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because these Brewers can't hit righties very well. But I actually wanted to attack Mangin. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Get your notes crossed up.
But yeah. What do you think, though? Like, I think Thornton is, like, the obvious choice.
I mean, right now, I really don't have an argument. It's the Padres. I'm actually very surprised. I guess because Lucchese's pitching. But, yeah, I mean, taking Vegas out of the equation, he's 7-6. It's not a great price, but in cash, like, there's nobody else, like, in that range that you feel comfortable with. And you could do the double spend up, maybe go Barrios, Syndergaard, or something of that nature, but you're putting yourself in a tight spot for bats. So you're really, really going to have to be keen on the value. So I think the easier build to start with, at least until we get lineups out and see if value opens up, would be Thornton. Against the Padres, Thornton has been struggling mostly to lefties, and he's going to see maybe two. They got this Josh Naylor dude up here. That's a funny name, Joe. You could have some fun with that one, Joe. You like that fun with
Naylor, yeah.
Josh Naylor.
Just wait. I wish Doug Fister was still pitching, and he was pitching to Doug Naylor. Yeah. Doug Fister pitching to Josh Naylor.
Oh yeah.
Fister to Naylor.
Gotta love it. But yeah, so in the cash game conversation, like, you're looking around who's the least threatening, and you're looking at the Padres, and you're like, well, you know what I mean? Well, at least they have a ton of righties. So I really don't have another suggestion. I think some people may try to go to like a Pablo Lopez because he pitched better. That was against that was a different circumstance. First of all, that was the Mets, whose offense has just been awful. But anyway, I agree with you. What about looking at SP1s from a tournament perspective, Joey? Who are you looking at?
From tournament perspective, Chris Sale, I think on both sides, to me, is a great GPP option. Saw what Giolito did against these Astros today. I mean, obviously he's a righty, but you can shut them down. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't. That doesn't mean that these Astros are machines. So I like that. And then the other guy that kind of stands out to me, in between Syndergaard and Barrios on FanDuel, is Walker Buehler. And he's pitching in a good ballpark against the Pirates. And I just think that he is much like, earlier in this week where we had Marquez and Gray, they both had success against these same Pirates. I think Buehler's a better pitcher than both of them. Or you could say that against him and Marquez are on the same level, in my opinion. What do you think about that? Who do you think is a better pitcher in general, Bueller or
Right
Marquez?
now, Marquez. I'm just right now.
Mhm.
I think. I mean, Bueller's got so much upside ahead of him. When did he really start pitching last year? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Was it the, so
yeah.
yeah, he's
Because
really
remember, because
yeah.
Marquez's first few years, like nobody thought anything. Like nobody thought this was coming. Like there were a lot of times where you would wait to see Marquez, and the only reason you wouldn't stack against him was because he had good ground ball rates at the time. But you didn't see this kind of strikeout upside. So like he's matured, and now he's just an awesome pitcher. And I think Bueller already looks like a great pitcher. So I think he's got more up. I think he may have more upside. And again, I'm trying to take anything from Marquez. I think Marquez is phenomenal. And Marquez is pitching,
Yeah.
half his game is in cores, so you got to factor that in too. But right now it's Marquez, but that doesn't mean that I think Bueller doesn't have the talent Marquez does.
Yeah. Essentially, they're on the same level to where he could roll up a 50 like Marquez
Mm-hmm.
did on Wednesday or Tuesday or
Yeah,
whenever it was.
Bueller is doing phenomenal, but he's just like he remind. I think he's better than this particular pitcher, but like Jack Flaherty, where like they have so much upside, but every once in a while they're just not going to have it. They're going to go out there and they're just a little more. And like every pitcher that happens, right? It's happened to DeGrom, but to these younger pitchers, like it happens to them a little more often. DeGrom will be like once every like couple months, whereas Bueller may be one every like 4 starts or so. One every 3 or 4 starts. So, and the same thing with Flaherty, but. I do think he's extremely talented. The only problem with the Dodgers, Joey, is your coach, man. I mean, that dude, man. We used to talk about snipers in the rafters for the Brooklyn Nets when they would get subbed out, man. Snipers in the rafters for the Dodgers, man. These pitchers, man. But
Mhm.
yeah, Bueller's extremely talented. Absolutely.
What are you thinking about? Like we have a very active chat tonight in the
Oh,
YouTube
do we?
YouTube chat
Oh
room
yeah.
tonight. Good. Some nights there's nobody who says 2 words. Now we got some people in
Yeah.
there, so it's like talk to me about Syndergaard. Like there's somebody talking about can you trust Syndergaard? What do you think? I mean, I think it's a pure matchup base. I mean, he's facing the Tigers. So what do you think?
So my problem with Syndergaard in general, not necessarily on this slate. My problem with Syndergaard in general is he doesn't go for the strikeout as much as like his numbers look like. You know what I'm saying? He's capable of getting it. You can see it in his swinging strike rate. But when he has a guy with 2 strikes, he's going for soft contact. That's what he's become. He doesn't throw his slider in situations where you would think, okay, throw him the slider, get the strikeout. Instead, he'd rather pin him with a sinker down and away and get him to ground out. And that's something that Syndergaard talked about doing like 2 years ago when he got hurt. Talking about I got to be more comfortable pitching to contact, and he didn't do it. Like he said he was going to do it because he got hurt. Didn't do it. Then he got hurt again. So that's my only issue with Syndergaard is like the strikeouts. Like he's gonna have to go deep into those games in order to get the strikeouts. However, because of the way he pitches, if he's pitching well, he's gonna go deep because he's not going for the strikeout. He's pitching to contact. He's gonna give up more contact. His pitch count's gonna be lower. He doesn't walk dudes. So you'll see those games where he did get a lot of strikeouts because he went deep into the game. Like he'll get 9 Ks across 7 innings. Like sure, you know what I mean. Speaking of seven, check this out, bro. What is it? See right here, my shit.
Yep.
Boom. Sale.
Nice.
Sale. That's not how I would spell
Nice.
it. But anyway. Um,
Yeah, so I think that I think probably then the way we're talking about it, Barrios is probably a safer option tomorrow against the White Sox than Detroit, or this is an interleague matchup. Detroit has one less batter. You know what I mean? One less who's got it. That's pitcher's gonna hit. You know what I mean? Like
that's
to me, I
definitely a
think
plus.
that's
Not my other point that the seven threw me off, Joey. My bad. What I meant, the whole point of even what I was saying is, but they are playing the Tigers, so you're making a bet against the Tigers offense. You know what I'm saying? Who Trevor Richards just shut down today. Just think about that. You know what I'm saying? In an even bigger park. Against a much better pitcher. So yeah, I'm hesitant on Syndergaard like in general, but in this particular matchup, I'm all for it. It's the Tigers; they can't hit, and they strike out a lot against righties, a lot of righties. So, in this situation, you're betting against that contact. What do you think the Tigers are going to do if they make contact with this ball? Maybe Castellanos takes him deep, maybe Miggy, but more than likely, most of them are going to do what they did today against Trevor Richards. And so yeah, I'm fine with Thor. He's not my favorite pitcher in tournaments, but in cash games, I would feel comfortable. I think with Thor.
more than Barrios?
Oh no, I don't know about that. Oh well, that's a tough one. See,
Because they basically the same price on DK and on FanDuel. Thor is more, which I think gives Barrios a little bit of a bump. He's $700.
Well, we know Barrios has extreme home and road splits. And the other positive here, one thing you have to consider, Joe, is the Mets' offense is not good right now. So, just speaking in terms of upside, I mean, the Twins are a pretty good offense right now. They're hitting a lot of home runs, and they're going up against Ronaldo Lopez, who, as long as you're not striking out, you're going to hit it hard. So, and the Twins, that's not what they do. They don't really strike out. So, Barrios, you got to figure like he's much more secure for the win. Those little booster numbers, he seems more secure. I'm not saying I don't think the Mets will win. I'm just saying that it's tougher for the Mets to win.
I agree. No, I was really hoping that there was some sort of just a decent right-hander.
Yeah.
To draw against the Mets tomorrow. They have no lefties.
Yeah, they're all hurt.
Like Nemo, McNeil, and Cano all went on.
How funny with Cano. So he doesn't hustle, and he gets like crucialized. He's lazy. He's not hustling. Then it happens again, and Mickey gets like he did it again. He got doubled up because he didn't run out of the box. He thought it was foul. And so that they ram him again. There's Mickey Callaway, like is terrible manager. He's not saying shit. So Cano finally hustles, and he pulls his quad. He finally hustles it out, and he ends up pulling his quad. How funny is that? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe there's probably a reason. There's two things, right, Joe? Either number one, Cano, like there was a reason that Cano doesn't hustle. It's because he knows he's got bad quads. Or number two, because he's never hustled over his entire career, even when he was with the Yankees, you know, which is one of the reasons they let him go. He's in terrible shape for sprinting because he never hustles. So it's one of those two. But how funny is that, man? Just like, I mean, it's not funny that he got hurt. It's just ironic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So people are saying that Barrios is not safe in the chat. I just want to go over his home starts. His last start against the Angels at home, he only got an 11 FanDuel points. But over that, other times, Houston, he threw up a 40. Baltimore, he threw up a 46. Detroit, he threw up a 45. Cleveland, he threw up a 63. So I don't know. Tomorrow, when you're looking at safeness in cash games, folks, you're trying to look for what's the safest option to get you.
I'll take it a step further with Barrios with the home and road split. So I'm going to read you his game logs against the White Sox over the last couple of years, home and away. Okay? So his away starts, he's had 4 away starts since 2016. These are his DraftKings scores on the road against the White Sox since 2016. First start ever, 14 on the road, 19 on the road, 8 on the road, 13 on the road. Now, these are his home starts. This is DraftKings points, mind you. These are his home starts against the White Sox. 31, 38, 39, 39, and 31, which was the last time he's seen these guys on September 28th of last year. So this guy has been just absolutely dominant against the White Sox at home. At home, specifically. Not on the road. He hasn't been great against them. He's been mediocre at best. At home, he has dominated these guys. Now, I'm not saying that we need to look at history and, history is going to repeat itself today. That's not the point. The point is, if you compare that and you look at all his numbers, like there's no question over his career. It's ridiculous. His home and road splits, they almost make no sense. Like, how could that park be so beneficial to you? But maybe it's a comfort thing. I don't know. But yeah, the home and road splits are real. I have some concerns with Barrios this season. His swinging strike rate is a little down. It's like around the 10% range. So his strikeouts have also kind of taken a dip. But some of the teams he's played, like the Astros, the Angels, are a little tougher to strike out. You know what I'm saying? And he's seen the Angels, I think, twice or maybe once, regardless. But I know he's seen the Astros. I know he's seen the Angels. So, it's circumstantial. The strikeouts have been down. That's a little concerning. But to me, it's like as long as he's at home, I'm always down to play Barrios. That's just a process thing to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No. Okay. So let's keep going. Let's keep moving on to some of the other SP2 options. The one guy I wanted to get to tomorrow, and he's more of a FanDuel play for me. He's not a DraftKings play because he's just way too expensive. And is Robbie Ray, and he's a total GPP play, and I like him tomorrow just because. When Robbie Ray is chalk, we know it's just not a good thing. He'll never throw you that 50 or 60 when Robbie Ray is chalk. But tomorrow, He's facing the Giants. On FanDuel, he's 8-7, so he's a decent price. The Giants strike out against lefties, mid-range about 25% of the time. But in the last week, they've been striking out the 5th most out of any team in baseball. He's got a good park upgrade. I'm just looking at other options that I'd like. To me, on FanDuel, he's somebody that sticks out. The other guy, because I do like to pay down on at least a couple of my teams. The other guy, obviously we talked about Eichhoff on FanDuel is 7-4. He's not bad if, depending on if Yelich is back or not, and Braun, if those two guys are out, he really get kind of a boost. Also, we might have to look at some of the umpiring data, what we have coming out for tomorrow's games. But the two other guys, Lucchesi, we could look at as kind of like a vanilla type of play. It might not hurt you against these Blue Jays. And then the other guy that if you really, really want to go all the way down, and we probably have to look into him a little more, CK, but, the Marlins against righties have been pretty okay. And they got this guy in the Nats. I don't think he's going to be a starter. You know what I mean? I don't think he's just going to be a starter and is going to bring in the bullpen because they have the worst bullpen, in the world. I mean, me, you, and Paulie could be better relievers now.
Yeah.
All right. And then, okay. What, the Mets came back like 3 days in a row on them?
Mets swept them? Yeah, come from behind.
The Mets swept them, but they all came back, too, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's this guy McGowan, I feel like it's not a sexy play, but at 5.5 on FanDuel, if you really, especially, once we get to some of these stacks, he's 5.5 on FanDuel. He's 7K on DK. It's a little bit too much, but for 5.5, I feel like he's the one guy I would just throw him in there just because matchup based. Hopefully, he maybe gets you a 25 or 30. That would be awesome. And then maybe he'll afford you to get all these bats in. What do you think?
I like it, man. I'm looking at him now, and he did have one relief appearance this year for a 3-inning. I think that was that may have been the game where Sanchez got hurt or something like that. And regardless, in AAA this year, he had 8 starts, so he stretched out. Like, he's going to start this game. It is Miami's offense. Granted, they've been hitting a little better, but it's still Miami. And like you said, like, their bullpen is awful. So you just don't see them like like today. They did not want to pull Strauss out. Like, they just did not want to until they literally had to when his spot came up in like the bottom of the 7th, whatever it was, and there were runners on 2nd and 3rd. So like they had no choice, but their bullpen's been just awful. And like, think about the guys who have beat them recently. Raji Davis took an Uber, literally like got called up, took an Uber, a 2-hour Uber to Citi Field. Doesn't like the game. He got there after the game started. You know what I'm saying? Like the 5th inning,
I love those
crazy.
stories.
In the 5th inning, he just got dressed, goes in to pinch it in the 9th, and he blasts a home run off with Doolittle, I think it was. And then today, Carlos Gomez, blast from the pass, was one of the heroes hitting a monster home run. Just like, you're right, they're bad. They're not just getting beat. Look at who they're getting beat. They're getting beat by guys that, I'm a Met fan. I love my Mets, and I appreciate what Davis and Gomez and them did. And I'm a team guy, but let's be real. They're here because nobody else wanted them. That's why they're here. You know what I'm saying? So that tells you how bad the Nats bullpen is. But yeah, I'm with you, man. He's cheap. At that price, like, it's Miami. He's got just as good of a quality start as any pitcher against Miami. You know what I'm saying? If he can get that for you on fan, and on DraftKings, I love him. He's like 7K on DraftKings. He might become somewhat trendy tomorrow for SB2 options for the guys that don't want to play Thornton or want to save a little bit extra. He could become trendy, but I'm with it. He had a 10K per 9, 10.8K per 9 in AAA. He does have a little bit of a control issue, it looks like. Walks have been an issue for him, and he is susceptible to the long ball. But luckily for him, he's playing a Miami team that doesn't hit a ton of long balls. So, I mean, I'm with it, Joe.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad option. So that pretty much
let's move on to the hitting, Joe. We have a lot of hitting spots. I'm just kind of going to open it up to you. Like, who's the one that stands out to you right now?
Well, I mean, I'm not a Coors guy. Like, I don't really say go to Coors, but man, it's hard not to see just the Rockies just hit you in the face. John Means, he's actually been a pretty decent pitcher for the Orioles, but the park upgrade and everything, and it's not just once he's out of the game, you got this bullpen that is just absolutely got raped. the last 4 days against these Yankees. So to me, it just seems like an obvious chalk play. You're going to have some of the Rockies tomorrow. Obviously, Arenado is probably a core play tomorrow. It might be one of the highest owned players against a lefty. Mark Reynolds at 3-1 is pretty cheap too against a lefty. And then don't be afraid playing some of these left batters too tomorrow with the Rockies, because as you know, the obvious the bullpen, like I said, of the Orioles are just really, really bad. So on first look, they're the one team that just stands out. And I'm not a big Rockies guy. The other team, to me, the two other teams that stand out at first look are the Twins. As always, I seem to always go to the Twins, but they hit 8 home runs today. So, and then the Cardinals against Fulte. And Fulte has just been god awful this year. And we have made a lot of money just stacking against Fultonavich. And he has been just really, really bad. This is the second time that he's going to be facing St. Louis this year. And he put up a 2 the first time. So I like those three teams right off the bat. There might be other teams we can get into, but those are my top 3 right now, I'd say.
Yeah, man. My favorite game, I think, right now, granted, it's a first look, and I have a tendency to, like, the night before, look at a game and just fall in love with the game for offense, and it's this Cardinals game. More so the Cardinals, I will agree. I feel more comfortable attacking Fulte, but the Braves have been hot, man. They're hitting bombs in San Francisco. They're hitting bombs, and now they're going into St. Louis, where it is going. Supposedly, it's going to have 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left. It's going to be 88 degrees and with 52% humidity. So those are awesome hitting conditions. And like you said, Fulte. I mean, even Mikolas, man, he has not been as good this year at limiting at limiting the long ball. He's getting beat by home runs by lefties, man. And Freddie Freeman's looked real good. This kid they brought up, Riley, man, damn, that kid is good. Ronald Acuna looks good. Like all of them. Swanson's hitting. So this game in general, I do prefer the Cardinals side, and that's because, like you said, we've just been picking on Fulte since he's come up. You know, his velocity still down. I'm gonna want to check and see what that looks like, if that's come up at all. But the Cardinals, that game in general stands out. As far as cores, very, very tough to pass on the Rockies side. But one thing I'll say about Means, like, yeah, he gives up the long ball from time to time, but he has been pretty good all season for the most part, like limiting his hard contact. So I'll say that about him. But the Rockies look pretty good. But like, yeah, there's tons of offenses we could talk about, Joe. I mean, like a lot, like you said, the Twins projected for 5.5 runs. There's a lot of ways to go. But right now, that Cardinals game is the one I'm kind of hung up on. And even the A's are 5.4. You know, it's just overall ballpark, everything, weather, like, just looks great.
Yeah, I mean, we have two teams that, you know, the A's and the Angels, that are both over 5 runs too. You know, the Angels, winds blowing out. They just got killed today. They're facing Drew Smiley. So, you know, I wouldn't mind it. They probably have some decent value options, and then the A's, they have one of the top ISOs against left-handed pitchers. And we know the Seattle Mariners bullpen is bad too. So late night hammer with the A's, I would not mind at all. Their batters, they have everybody on FanDuel is under 4K. I could take that. Even with there's no Chris Davis, it don't matter. They're going to throw out their righty heavy lineup against LeBlanc. And I don't mind it. They have some really, really good value there. Piscotty, Pinder, Grossman, you know, Profar.
And by the way, LeBlanc has been absolutely awful this year. Like he's like awful. He's got a 6.87 K per nine. He's got a 7.36 ERA with a 6.09 xFIP. High walk rate. He's got a 2.95 home run per nine right now. It's only through 4 starts, but yeah, he's been awful this year. So that does look like a pretty nice match, for sure. Offenses will not be a problem tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think so at all. It really is not. You're going to be able to fit.
Yeah, it's going to come down to pick your favorite offenses and see what pitchers, or prioritize your pitchers, and then you could work with whichever offense you need to. But you know, it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. It'll be fun. And that's going to do it for the slate breakdown. Me and Joe are going to do the cash game cores for FanDuel and DraftKings. We will do the top threes that Don watched. But first, I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't checked us out at wisec.com, make sure you get over there, get yourself a subscription. Start off with a day pass if you want to try it out. $2.50 all it costs. You'll get access to all the MLB content for one day. Get access to, we got articles, cheat sheets. We have a live stream, which is a live stream. We do 2 hours before lock, which today was dope because if you watch today's, you'd have heard me tell you to stack up the Cubs and the Phillies and all that good stuff. But yeah, day pass, $2.50. After that, the only thing you're gonna get with the day pass is the Slack chat. I highly recommend you get into the Slack chat, mix it up with the other YSIC members, and mix it up with some of the analysts and really start to perfect your craft. Work on some of that DFS skill. That is so coveted. But our goal is to make you a better player. Come check us out, or just listen to the pod. It's up to you. Depends on how much upside you want. Joe, cash game core. What do you think? Which one do you want to go with, Barrios or Thor? Barrios. What about on DraftKings? Same thing.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same price. Yeah.
All right.
Price, yeah. And that's S2. I'm gonna go with Thornton.
Okay, I'm down with that. Who on FanDuel? Or just in general, who's our stud? Arenado? What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to get away from Arenado tomorrow. I matchup wise, ownership wise and cash games, I just think that's the way to go to start off with.
Because if you don't have him and he hits 2 or 3 home runs, you're just in cash. You're just screwed. In tournaments, you want to fade him. It makes perfect sense. In cash games, he's going to be so popular against the lefty at home that if he does and you don't have him, it's going to be a long climb up.
Well, and you also got to look at, there's a lot of other days where, at least this week, there's been a lot of third basemen in really good spots. So tomorrow, you're basically, if you look at it, you have Arenado in a great spot, but then Rendon, yeah, I could see him, he's decent, but Bregman's got to deal with Sale, which he's okay against Sale, but then Carpenter probably has the next best matchup against Fulte, but you know what I'm trying to say? Usually when there's 3 guys at the same prices, it's kind of easy to, you're going to have to pick right. But to me, I feel like Arenado is just an easy play.
Over the others, absolutely.
And then if you look at him over the other higher priced guys like Trout or Belly, they both have great matchups too. So if you want to play Trout or Belly as good GBP options, Trout has 2 or 3 home runs against Smiley and Bellinger. Right now he's hitting 395 now, and he's facing Musgrove, so that's not a bad matchup in my mind. So
yeah, no.
Anyways, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go there now.
Yeah, I'm with it. Value play on FanDuel.
Value play on FanDuel right now, off the top of my head, I just want to go with Steve Pearce.
Oh yeah, assuming JD's out. Yeah, I'm down with that. Yep, he's 3K on DraftKings, so he works there too. He did a home run today. Maybe he's starting to get it going.
2-3 on FanDuel. I feel like, and if they bat him where they say he's going to bat him, they bat him up in the top 6. He might be a core play tomorrow.
Yeah, if he bats 5th or higher, yeah. We'll have to see. I'm with it. There is a pretty good amount of value on this, so you could already see it. Top 3 pitchers overall.
Top 3 pitchers overall tomorrow. Jose Barrios, number 1. Number 2 is going to be... Boy, it's tough to pick. Barrios, number 1. Syndergaard, number 2. And number 3 is going to be Chris Sale.
I'm going to go with Barrios. I'm going to go Blake Snell, number 1. I'm going to go with Barrios, number 2. And I'm going to go with that Kyle McGowan kid against the Marlins for number 3 for the value.
Really not a bad option. I will have at least one matchup of at least one lineup of that, because I love to have one lineup where you're paying down and you just
load up on all the bats, right? Stack like the most expensive stacks on the slate, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's when you do your cores, double stack, Wendy's double stack. Remember that? That's
old school Wendy's double stack.
The Wendy's double stack.
Yeah. Back when you ate those.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I haven't had a double stack. I haven't had a burger. Whew, long time.
Top three stacks.
Top three stacks tomorrow: Rockies, Cardinals, Twins.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals, the Braves, and the Oakland Athletics
Good
against
one too.
Seattle. Blah, blah, blah.
The A's, like I said, the A's are good because they're affordable.
Yeah. I just hate their park.
You know,
But like Seattle's bullpen's been crap, and LeBlanc has been awful. So I'll take my. Hopefully Chris Davis is back. He's only 4,200 on DraftKings. I'll play the shit out of him. But yeah, they're pretty affordable on DraftKings also. Yeah.
have you noticed? Have you noticed that I feel like the prices have sort of stabilized a little bit more? Like there's a little bit more value. You can find a little bit more here and there. Like it seems like in the beginning of the year it was a little tougher than it is
What
now.
for
For fans like fitting in like that high price
Oh,
picture and
oh
having
yeah,
enough value.
yeah. On FanDuel,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
It's funny because DraftKings they do give you a lot of value, So like I've been able to make things work like pretty much whatever I want. I've had ways to make them work. Nothing is really impossible. You know what I'm saying? But you may have to sacrifice a lot and play somebody you really don't want to play. But you could make something work if like you really wanted to get the stack in with the stud pitcher. It's just gonna cost you something. But on FanDuel, it's like literally impossible sometimes. Like you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's literally impossible. Like even min price players won't make that work. Like that's the situation they put you in sometimes over there. Dong Watch Joe, who's going deep?
on watch. All right. So Song Watch tomorrow. Freddie Freeman.
Ooh, I like that a lot. I'm gonna go with Matt Carpenter.
All right. I am going to go with Dan Vogelbach.
Vogelbach. I'll take. I really want to take Chris Davis if he plays, but I'll say Matt Chapman because I know he's gonna play. So Matt Chapman.
Matt Chapman. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my boy Eddie
I
Rosario.
like that. I'm gonna go with Pete Alonso from the Mets against Soto. I think Pete will hit one. Yeah. And that is gonna do it for the Why Take DFS podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like and a share to support the Why Take Nation. If you're watching on Twitch or Twitter, give us a follow, give us a retweet. And if you're listening to us on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Joey, anything in closing before we get out of here?
Can Toronto make it a series? That's what somebody's asking you in the chat. CK, in Jesus' name, can Toronto make it a series with Golden State?
I personally believe. I feel like Milwaukee is the tougher matchup for Golden State. Now, I guess it depends on who's actually going to be healthy for Golden State, but I like Milwaukee is like Giannis, man. Like I know you got Kawhi, but they've done that before. A matter of fact, during the regular season, not that this matters, just regular season, but I recall Kevin Durant without Curry. That was before Boogie came back. No Curry, and I remember Kevin Durant coming from behind by like 20 points and beating Toronto in Toronto. So I don't know. If Toronto is the team in, I find it tough, man, because like you're gonna be relying on like Kyle Lowry to have multiple good games. If it's like, you know what I'm saying, like Kyle Lowry, I love Lowry. I don't know. He's just become inconsistent for some reason. He's been playing better, he has, but it'll be exciting. But very very shocked to see Toronto win today, pull off the upset in Milwaukee. By the way, Cam, I told you, Toronto was going to be tough for Milwaukee. But he's probably not listening. It's past his bedtime. He's not listening to this.
We also have one more question that I'm going to answer. Is it says, what's the best whorehouse in Texas? I really can't attest to that per se, but I do know that Texas, the strip clubs are BYOB. Like you can walk in there with like a 12-pack and they just put it on like a bucket of ice and like, here you go, sir, and they sit you down. I thought that was quite innovative. You know what I mean? So when,
It's because they probably just couldn't afford a liquor license, man.
I don't know. It seems like it's statewide though, because I was in El Paso.
Oh, you know what? You're probably right. They probably have a law where you can't like sell alcohol in strip clubs. You might be right.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
right.
yeah. BYOB. Yeah,
Right.
you can bring your own. Yeah.
So, I mean, and the girls are very, are friendly down there too. So, it's just, but yeah, I can't attest to the whorehouses, but I do know the strip clubs
I
are
don't know,
BYOB,
bro.
which
The chat's calling you out right now, man. The chat's calling you out right now, Joe.
I know.
Joey knows him. He says Joey knows all about him.
You know the stories. I've told the stories. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? If I knew, I would tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've told you stories. By day pass, guys. Maybe I'll tell another story. Who knows? By day pass. That's where you get the uncensored Patio Joe. You know what I mean?
It's a wild ride. We got to have one of those disclaimers. Like, I got to pop a disclaimer on the screen whenever you say that, like parental advisory or something. All right, man. Well, that was a pretty long closing statement, but it was cool. It was fun for Patio Joe, for myself, for the chat. We appreciate y'all and the entire White Sig Nation. As always, good luck. Yeah.